What's going on, all you wild soldiers out there? Your two favorite casualties of war are back tonight, and we are here to talk about the new Alex Garland film. Him, along with the Navy SEAL Ray Mendoza, join forces to tell this, true story from actually Ray's accounts from the Battle of Ramadi in 2006 in Iraq, and this platoon of soldiers. We have Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, Cosmo Jarvis, among others. And what movie are we talking about, Uncle Logan?
We're talking about warfare.
We have enemy on our building and all surrounding buildings.
Roger that. Stand by. Going hot.
Better get ready, man. It's gonna hurt.
On my count. 1, 2, 3.
Big fans of Alex Garland, so we're interested in seeing his brand new film Warfare. His last movie he put out was Civil War, so kind of back to back having to do with soldiers and things like that. But this one, true story, Navy SEALs, a platoon of Navy SEALs, they go into a mission in Iraq essentially. So most of the movie is set up in this kind of room or this house they're kind of hanging out in, and really sets up kind of the vibe they're going for. Very quiet because they're on this
Mhm.
mission. They don't want to, people in Iraq to hear them or come in and kill them essentially. So they're really quiet and kind of going through what their day looks like essentially, trying to survive.
Mhm. Yeah, doing a lot of surveillance from the window. They have a little sniper's perch set up. Cosmo Jarvis's character looking through the scope. You're watching people go in and out of a building. They're tracking them. They're tracking terrorists. And, eventually all hell breaks loose. And you see the what happens in warfare, how messy it gets, the chaos that ensues, the, amount of stress, the, explosions, your hearing going out, just so many different sensations all at once. And that's really what you get from this film. That's what Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza give you from this film. They give you a really realistic scenario of a mission that goes wrong, and the chaos that ensues, and what happens when your brothers that you're there with, you're all counting on each other to keep each other alive, and you have to watch people you love die, people that mean a lot to you and have kept you alive. You watch limbs fly, you watch you know people's lives get taken right in front of your eyes, and you're trying to save the rest of your platoon. It's crazy story. Something I was before watching the film, I thought this was going to give us like a broader scope as far as the action scenes here and everything. But this is really condensed and isolated within these buildings. They don't go traveling along. There's not a lot of cinematography. They finally do make it out, but for the most part, it's a contained story here. And like you mentioned, yeah, very quiet. There is dialogue, but it's kind of few and far between. The action sprinkled out, and every so often there's a jarring scene that really gives you that authentic feeling of war.
Yeah, it's very isolated, like you were saying. That one scene you're talking about, Cosmo Jarvis as a sniper, the sweat dripping down his forehead. He just doesn't move for like 25 minutes, and he's like, "All right, I need to get up," because I couldn't
Hmm.
imagine just cramping up and not moving for that long. It's got to be so freaking hot there too. They're just all look miserable. Most of the cameras are really up close in their faces as they're sitting throughout
Hmm.
this house. Their different positions and jobs that they're doing. And yeah, that's really the first hour of the movie. The last 30 minutes are very heart wrenching and awful of things these guys went through. Some didn't survive. And of course, the other soldiers, what they're going to have PTSD from this occurrence happening, their brothers, family members dying in front of them. So the last 30 minutes, it's really hits you pretty hard. But the first hour is just really kind of building up to a mission gone wrong or gone
Hmm.
bad. And really, really crazy stuff here.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a slow burn than I was expecting. That's really my biggest criticism here. It's very realistic. And, obviously being made by somebody that was there and witnessed all this, it's obviously not going to be the exact same dialogue or the exact, you know, detailed events, but overall, this is, the most realistic film that you're going to be able to see, especially, from the Battle of Ramadi, this actual historical thing that happened. And these people that made this film were there and they, told their story to these actors, and these actors really did a phenomenal job conveying the, harrowing situation they're all put in and having to communicate and, try to keep everybody alive and complete the mission and, you know, keep their wits about them when everything goes wrong and it's completely chaotic and bombs are flying and body parts are flying around. They're seeing, the bodies of their comrades there lie in front of them without a head and smashed up. And once it gets brutal, the film really does get brutal. But it definitely is a slow burn, slower than I was anticipating. I expected it to be more action packed. Not necessarily a criticism of the film itself. It's just I was expecting it to be a little more action packed, and whereas it was more so of a slow burn, is what I'd say. So, but yeah, the performances are great. It's led by Will Poulter. He's the main man there, and he did a really great job. Of course, you can't tell by his accent or by anything that he's actually English here, playing an American soldier, and does a great job as he does in all the roles that we see him in. He just continues to impress in everything he does, and also Joseph Quinn in another role here. Not a lot of dialogue, but just playing a soldier, and all these guys were believable. Michael Gandolfini in a role like we haven't seen him before too. He kind of bulked up for this, had a mustache, looked different, and played a different character than we're used to seeing. Everybody did a really great job here. This film really hits home. It hits you what these people had to deal with, and you can only imagine how hard it was to adjust once they made it home, if they did make it home, because a lot of people didn't make it home. So this is very realistic and tragic and harrowing and everything all at once. Just a little bit of a slow burn for me. Otherwise, thought it was a really solid film.
Same here. I would totally agree with you. We were talking about this a few days ago. I think I like the cast in this movie more than Civil War, but I like Civil War more as a whole, as a movie.
Mhm. Yeah.
And just with the minor nitpick here, just being a little too slow. I was expecting more dialogue, more action. In reality, it's not. It's staying true to what actually happened there. I wasn't aware of that, and that's a minor nitpick. Yeah, it's a solid movie across the board. Alex Garland, Ray Mendoza, the cast is incredible. Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, Michael Gandolfini, Cosmo Jarvis, list goes on and on. Really great ensemble depicting these soldiers back then and what happened to them. And yeah, it's worth a watch. Not what I was expecting is where I'm getting at. So
Mhm.
I'm going to give A24's Warfare, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 Cosmo Jarvis hair pieces.
Yeah, definitely not like one of the best war movies of all time or anything like that. One of the more realistic ones, I'd say for sure. And I'd agree with you. Civil War, overall, just a more entertaining film. So with that being said, I'm going to give Warfare. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Will Poulter hair pieces.
So I want to hear from all you wild rascals out there. What did you like about Warfare? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite Alex Garland film? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to stamp, subscribe. Also, check out these wild uncles on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for latest, greatest TV, movie news, and reviews.
Woo, doggy. We just got done reviewing our fourth project of the night. Had a great time reviewing it with you, my friend. Glad we got to watch these. We've binge watched a lot of shows recently, watched a lot of movies, and we've got a lot more to come all summer long on this here YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and thank you to everybody who has, and please like and leave us a comment.
And we got another 8 more videos we're going to be recording tonight. Hopefully you don't turn into Nick Nolte before the night ends.
Too late, sweetheart.
So that's it for this movie review. I'm Logan Myers. That's my good mate over there.
And I'm Henry Hill. And cheers!